You are about to enter the Few Facts Zone, hosted by Bill O'Reilly. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight as we begin our 20th anniversary season. Wow. Donald Trump's big gamble. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. By going to Mexico last week, Mr. Trump signaled that he is willing to engage in diplomacy. But as soon as he got back to the USA, he repeated his policy of being tough on illegal aliens. There was some nuance, but not much. And that is Mr. Trump's big gamble. He is hoping that American voters are fed up with a federal government that will not enforce immigration law, thereby allowing chaos to reign and actual harm to come to Americans like Kate Steinle. Republican ticket apparently believes there are many voters who are silently sick of permissive immigration policies in place for decades. They're sick of it. Remember, if you are outspoken about enforcing immigration laws, the left will brand you a nativist and perhaps even a racist.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true. There are a lot of people on the left who are in favor of enforcing immigration laws. What they also want to do is to provide a path to citizenship for a lot of these people, especially those that have been living here a long time. So what you just said isn't true. Now, when you start calling an entire group of people rapists and criminals, yeah, I think I'm going to consider those statements a bit racist.
That's a vicious card to play, and it has inhibited speech to some extent. There's no question that illegal immigration is an explosive issue, one that allowed Donald Trump to win the Republican nomination.
Yeah, especially when he lied about deporting all 11 million or so undocumented aliens, and after he wins the nomination, now all of a sudden he backtracks to Jeb Bush's and John Kasich's position. Yeah.
Again, it comes down to this. Are most American voters fed up with the anarchy? Tough question to answer because you can't count on the polls to indicate true feelings. As mentioned, many people shy away from openly supporting tough measures against illegal aliens, even though they may support them. For those voters, Trump offers a border wall
that will never be built,
a crackdown on sanctuary cities, and zero tolerance for aliens who commit crimes on American soil. That's a powerful lure for disenchanted voters. That being said, there's no question that Donald Trump will not, will not deport millions of aliens who have been peaceful while residing in the USA.
You got that one right, Bill. I gotta give it to you on that one. When you interviewed Trump, I think it was last year, you did go out there and tell him that he wasn't deporting millions of people. So I gotta tip my hat and give you credit for that one.
He seems to be moderating his position on that. More than a year ago, we discussed the issue.
Damn.
I think you're right about the wall. I think you're wrong about the mass deportations and going into families. I think they have to be held accountable, and I think they have to be registered, and they have to go through the process. But I can't possibly see how the courts, the federal courts, are going to allow federal agents to kick doors in and drag people out.
I remember that. As a matter of fact, I watched it live when he said it. So, anyway.
Now, at the time, Donald Trump disagreed with me, so what's changed? Well, we'll talk with him about that in a moment. Although it's not directly linked, the race situation is also a problem for Mr. Trump. Truth is, African Americans will not vote for him in any great numbers, primarily because the Democratic Party retains credibility in the black precincts.
Primarily because the Republican Party has attempted to screw the black community, doesn't want to even address the black community, and has nothing to offer the black community. And I'm not talking about handouts. I'm talking about policies that would be helpful to the black community.
Also, Donald Trump is identified as being a birther.
Which he is. He's birther in chief.
Someone who has questioned President Obama's American citizenship, and many black Americans did not like that. However, it's very possible that African Americans will not turn out in great numbers at the polls this coming November.
Now that is true. And if the Democrats know what's good for them, they better invest a bunch of money in the proven organizations that get the vote out. And I'm talking about the black organizations. I'm not talking about the non-black organizations that they love pouring money into that cannot deliver results. And then 2 weeks before an election, they turn around and go to the black organizations and ask them to perform miracles. Don't happen. So they better get their money into the black organizations that turn out the vote, and they better get them into the Hispanic organizations that turn out the vote.
Certainly, Secretary Clinton's not as popular as President Obama with black voters. Donald Trump's foray to Detroit was a wise move, even though the usual suspects slammed him.
Your platform as the leader of the Republican Party does not speak to a civil rights agenda. You're talking about civil rights when you engaged in civil wrongs. To the degree that your party doesn't speak to it, you have never spoken to it, and we don't know who Donald Trump really is.
That is not one of the usual suspects. That is the head of the Detroit chapter of the NAACP. And he has only been on TV since Trump announced that he was going to that church in Detroit. So I figured that he was going to put Al Sharpton or somebody like that on as a usual suspect. But Reverend Anthony is not one of the usual suspects.
Now, it's almost amusing that Reverend Anthony excoriates the Republican Party's racial policies when the Democrats have allowed the city of Detroit, his city, to be destroyed.
With the help of a Republican governor, okay? But overall, Bill is right. Detroit has gone down while Democrats have been in power in the city. Now, there are various reasons for it, i.e. white flight, severe pension problems, the reduction, obviously, of jobs in Detroit, which would generate the tax revenues, which would help in the creation and the formatting of their budget. So there are a lot of reasons for it. He's right that Democrats were in control, but just because they were in control, you have to also look at the other underlying reasons. So, you know, we're 50-50 on that one.
Right before his own eyes. Politics trumping reality, pardon the pun, once again. Talking Points well understands that Donald Trump will have to overwhelmingly win the white vote to have any chance of being president.
You got that right.
Last week's immigration and race storylines might have helped him. New CNN poll out today has Trump leading Hillary Clinton 49-48.
That's in likely voters. That's not in registered voters. The likely voter poll, number one, was tilted in favor of Republican participants and independent participants, with Democratic participants being the smallest group included in the survey. And we all know that the Democratic participants are larger than the Republican participants. So that's why you got that number. And even when they swayed it with the overall registered voters, Hillary Clinton is beating Donald Trump. Then you start throwing in, which I believe he's going to include, the other two candidates, and the numbers, they kind of drop down.
If you factor in the other two alternative candidates, Trump wins 45-43. That's a big turnaround for mid-August. And it was driven, according to CNN, by 90% of Republican voters now supporting Trump. 90%.
See, and that's, again, a function of how they basically slant the Republican participation.
The LA Times daily tracking poll has a race tied, Trump 44, Clinton 44. NBC News has a Clinton 48, Trump 42. In a four-way race, Clinton 41, Trump 37. So again, Trump's making some progress, or so the polls say. But it all comes down to electoral votes. And here Donald Trump has some difficulty. Hillary Clinton is competing in states like Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Those states
He forgot to mention Georgia.
usually vote Republican. Donald Trump needs to win those three, Florida, Ohio, and either Pennsylvania or Michigan, to even be competitive in the Electoral College. That will not be easy. So summing up, Trump's tough stance on immigration looks to be a winner for him at this point. And the race deal is primarily symbolic. Blacks will vote for Mrs. Clinton. But with the debate coming up in less than 3 weeks, Trump still has a fighting chance.
You're living in a dream world. I honestly believe that when Trump blew up in Arizona, coming back and making that speech, and he started losing Hispanic support from his Hispanic outreach group, that was the beginning of the end for Donald Trump. It's going to be close, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I honestly believe that as long as Clinton doesn't screw up anymore, and she can kind of put this this email server foundation crap behind her, she needs to come to Jesus on that, by the way. If she can get that put behind her, she should be able to make it all the way through and win the election. And I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a Clinton fan. You know, I was a Sanders supporter. I got a little pissed off at him after the DNC. He disappeared, and he should have had his ass out there supporting the people that supported him, especially Tim Canova down in Florida. If there was one place that he should have been, that's where it was, because Tim, I believe, with Bernie down there, had a chance to take out Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That lying, no, I can't say it, that lying woman. But he went back to Vermont and holed up, so a lot of his supporters are saying that they feel betrayed by his lack of visibility out there once the convention was over. But that's my deal, and that's another story.
And that's a memo.
All right, that's Bill O'Reilly's far from fact opening rant, if you want to call it that.